Hi, I'm Dave Cassilo, and welcome to neo-varsity-live. It is state finals football week, and we've got a good show ahead of us. We've got Scott-Patsko and Joe Noga. All three of us will be down in Columbus for what should be a fun week. And we're going to start things off like we normally do with our opening kickoff questions. Scott, we got 4 locals in there. What team are you most surprised to see in Columbus right now?
Gosh, I'm not surprised to see not surprised that any of them made it. I think they were all really popular picks at the beginning of the year. Maybe Benedictine, but really, I think it's all chalk all the way.
Joe?
You know, if there is a surprise, maybe it's Kirtland just because of what they lost and not knowing what they were going to bring back and sustaining what they've sustained for so long. I think they've done an impressive job. That might be a surprise, but not really
After
a
while,
surprise.
you're not surprised about Kirtland anymore,
No.
I think.
Definitely. All right, a lot of talented players. Who's the best offensive player left in the for our local teams?
I'd say he's probably sitting in the studio here tonight, David Murray, All-Ohio Player of the Year. I think he's a good pick.
Yeah, close to 60 touchdown passes, right?
Yeah.
Joe?
Absolutely, David, you're fantastic. The numbers can't lie there. Explosive player, Sean Crawford's electric with the ball in his hand.
Great. What about defensively, Scott?
I think Jerome Baker, he was in and out this year, but he's just so dominant. He's in and out every tackle.
Well, why don't you take all the easy ones? Take the obvious ones, Scott. Jerome Baker absolutely gets his due. He is a fantastic linebacker for the Bengals. Denzel Ward. One of David Murray's favorite targets on defense. Denzel Ward, 9 interceptions this year. He takes away half the field. As a defensive player. You don't even game plan for that side of the field when Denzel Ward is out there. So he's definitely a game changer.
Backs still left. So.
Of the 4 teams left, which team has the biggest advantage in the special teams for locals?
Oh, geez. That's a hard one you're throwing at us. St. Edward I think is an easy choice. When you have Crawford back there, potentially returning kicks, the 99-yard kickoff return I always remember because he caught it over his head at the 1, which probably everything wrong that you'd want to do as a returner, but then boom, he's gone. So maybe that's.
Yeah, and that was in Week 10 in the St. Ignatius game. That was the real game changer in that game. So you've got game changers in the Division I game, in the Division II game. Dantes Rash is a guy who is definitely he's all speed for Benedictine and can change the game that way. Have you noticed a lot of these teams are trying to avoid those big kickoff plays by going to those pop-up kickoffs? I'm sure the Nordonia guys here in the studio, they've probably seen it in practice a lot. Trying to kick away from those returners who can really change games with 1 or 2 plays. We've seen it.
We've had less long, deep kickoffs than short ones, at least from the games I've covered so far. Everybody wants to hit that pocket where no one's standing.
Right, and I don't think that's a commentary on the kickers not being able to kick it. Anybody can kick it 60 yards out of the end zone, but I think the strategy is really coming into play in trying to avoid those big, opening the second half, opening the game.
Momentum shifts,
Yeah.
Given the reaction, do you think that Hudson coach Ron Wright regrets what he said after the game?
No, I don't think he does. I think he truly believes that, and I think he even told Joe that.
Yep.
I think we obviously got a lot of feedback on that, and I think people maybe stuck onto different parts of it. To me, that was him saying that, Hudson had to have its best season ever to get as far as they did.
Yeah.
They beat St. Ignatius. That's going to be one of the biggest wins they've ever had.
Yeah.
St. Ignatius wins that game. That's not the case.
Yeah.
St. Ignatius, St. Ed, Cincinnati schools, they're going to have deep playoff runs next year, the year after. Hudson's not. Wadsworth, Solon, North Royalton.
Yeah.
Those schools kind of have to have that special year to make that happen. And I think that's kind of the overall theme of what he was saying there.
Joe, and a follow-up to that, do you think this leads to anything? Do you think he rallies the troops for the public schools?
I don't think it's necessarily something that one man or one school or one team can do. It certainly acts as a lightning rod, and the next time somebody says something, we'll remember back to Ron Wright's statement, and think back to that and link back to that, just like we did the coach from Poland Seminary after the basketball game.
Yeah.
It does provide a lot of fodder. I think a lot of the commentary that we saw was St. Ed's fans after that game seeing those comments and getting upset and getting defensive. Not for not for any reason other than, hey, don't cheapen our victory over you in that regard. That was a lot of what the commentary was, because the commentary that supported Coach Wright was really sort of mixed in with all the vitriol from the Eds fan base. I think Ron Wright got a lot of support personally behind the scenes. He told me Sunday night that coaches were calling him, giving him support. I asked him specifically which coaches, and he wasn't necessarily willing to out any of those coaches. But he did mention that the Hudson community was behind him 100% on that.
It's one of those issues that you're never going to convince somebody the other side's way of thinking. It's just there's two sides, and you're on one or the other.
All right, quick answers here. What local state championship game is going to produce the most points?
Geez, I don't think it's going to be in Division I. I think I'd be surprised if anybody scores a lot on Eds. With the way Nordonia scores, maybe they get in another shootout like they did with Perrysburg, but I don't know. Maybe Division II is your best choice there out of those four.
Yeah, the Division IV game with Benedictine, they're playing an opponent that doesn't necessarily light up the scoreboard with a lot of points. They've got a running quarterback, and they're a run-based team in Kettering-Alter. So I don't think a lot of points can be scored unless it's a Benedictine blowout, unless it's an Eds blowout. I think the Nordonia game in Division II is probably your best bet for a lot of points.
Which of the four local games is most likely to be over at halftime?
I wouldn't put anything past Kirtland with the way they've been playing. Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know that we'd see a running clock in any of these games. At this point, I'd be really shocked if that happens in any of these games.
Joe?
The potential is there for Benedictine, again, to score a lot of points in bunches. I think if they put Alter in a position where they have to throw the ball, it could be a long day and a quick second half.
When you look at the four head coaches here, and this will be our last question before we move on to one of those coaches, a lot of young coaches, what coach would really this mean a lot for their legacy? Or maybe this is all four coaches, this is a very, career-defining game?
Well, Tiger's legacy, I think, is really cemented with or without this Tiger Laverde of Kirtland. Even without this game, people, I think, are going to be impressed by his body of work there. Rick Finati at St. Edward, this is, 2 state championship games in 6 years? That certainly says a lot. This is a team that wasn't exactly going to those every year, prior to him. I think there was in the 70s and 80s, each had one in early 2000s. So I think when you look at his resume there in the short time that he's been at St. Ed's, I think that's pretty impressive.
Joe. Like you said, Joe Schaefer in Division IV Benedictine, how much this means to, if you're talking legacy, you want to add this to the 6 that are already hanging banners at Benedictine. As far as legacy goes, this is big.
Let's not forget Jeff Fox winning possibly the first ever title.
The first one. That'll he'll be a popular man in Macedonia.
All right. Well, we've got Coach Schaefer now from Benedictine joining us. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing very well. Coach, obviously an exciting time of year. Just give me the mood around practice right now, around the hallways of school. What's it like going through this week here?
Yeah, so far we've had a tremendous week of practice. We've put together a great couple of days. The mood in the hallways at school is great. I just got done speaking with somebody else, and I mentioned that we're going to have a great turnout for our student body down there in Columbus, and everybody's very excited. So,
now, Coach, you were a popular pick to get pretty far in the playoffs this season. And when you looked at the season, did you think that maybe it would be a disappointment if you didn't get this far?
No, I wouldn't be disappointed. I mean, again, I was just asked a recent question very similar to what you're asking me, and we set this as a goal in January, really. And we wanted to hear every kid, say that this was their goal. And, after making it to the regional final last year and seeing what we had coming back and kind of where we were headed, in the right direction towards the end of last year, we set this as a goal, and we've been working to achieve it since, for the last 11 months. So I don't think it'd be disappointing, but obviously I'm ecstatic for the kids right now that they're realizing the potential to achieve that goal that they set out for. So.
Coach, so much of success in the playoffs, once you've looked at all the tape you can look at and you've gone through all the practices you can go through, so much of success is tied to confidence. Tell us about the confidence level of your guys. Where's it at right now heading into this championship game?
Well, I think they're a confident group right now, and I think there's a fine line there too. I told them flat out, Kettering Alto will be the best opponent we've played, and that's how it should be. It's the state championship game. So there's a fine line there, and we have not crossed it. I think we're a confident group. We have, by no means do we have anybody too confident in our group, and we'll be ready to go.
Coach, when you look back to earlier in the season, you had the game against Bedford where you guys fell, and then Jerome was suffering with an injury around that time. What was it like getting through that period, and was that maybe the turning point to go on the run towards the end of the year?
Yeah, I think it actually probably started before all that. Our goal as a coaching staff in June and July was to really develop all of our players from player 1 through 55. It didn't matter where they were at on our depth chart. We got everybody on the team a ton of reps in June and July and even early August. And then we got banged up a little bit on the O-line early on. We're without, one of our starting tackles for the first 3 or 4 weeks. And, it just gave a bunch of guys the opportunity to play. And then when Jerome got banged up, guys like DeCavalon Reese and Dantes Rash especially, just gave them an opportunity, and they seized the opportunity. And I think kids have done that all year. When their number has been called, they seized the opportunity and stepped up.
Now, Coach, on Friday you have the early game, 10 a.m., and curious what you think about playing that early and how that affects how you're going to prepare for that game as far as the night before and pregame and things like that.
Well, first of all, on our bus ride home on Friday, we always meet as a team right when we get back to Benedictine. And the kids with cell phones and Twitter and all that, they had already known what time we were getting. And so at 11:30 at night, we're meeting right after our game on Friday. And, before I said anything, I told all the kids that 12 months ago after we had lost in the regional final, somebody could have came in and said, we can guarantee you'll play in the state championship game, but you have to play at 3 a.m. I'm pretty confident everybody in that room would have signed up for it. So, I don't think the time matters at all. We're gonna get down there on Thursday night. We're gonna stay in a hotel, get up, eat breakfast, and get over to the stadium by 8 and be ready to go.
Coach, the opponent is Kettering Alter. This is a team that comes out of that GCL down in Cincinnati. It's a great conference. What do you see when you look at them? What have you picked up? They're a primarily run-based team. They've got a running quarterback. What can you tell us, and what should we expect out of them?
They got a very talented quarterback. They're good. They're a good football team, and they run the ball extremely well. They do some things schematically, their triple option stuff that make you, defensively be as sound as you possibly can be. And, they put you in positions where guys got to make plays. And defensively, they're a tough team. They got a good defensive line, and they're going to play some, man coverage and run around. And we're excited about the challenge. And like I said, we strung together a couple really good days of practice, so we're looking forward to it.
Coach Schaefer, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to watching you guys play Friday morning.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for having us. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Guys, the Benedictine, one of 7 state title games they'll be playing in over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday down in Columbus. A lot of games to look forward to. Right now, just before we bring Nordonia on, let's talk about one of those games. And let's talk about the Division I game. We've got St. Edward and we've got Huber Heights. Wayne, what should we expect out of that game?
Yeah, I think that the key there is going to be how the St. Ed's defensive backs deal with the Wayne wide receivers. That's the strength of both teams, defensively and offensively. And I think how those matchups go and how St. Ed's deals with the tall receivers on Wayne is probably going to be a big key to that game.
Yeah, and you want to, if you're St. Edward, you want to see Cole Guest get off to a fast start and be able to be effective in the run game early. That's going to mean good things for St. Edward if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the game, this is going to be, I know a lot of people thought that, Moeller would be down there, but I think Huber Heights Wayne offers a lot of different areas of, athleticism that should be tough for St. Edward to handle at times. And I think it's going to be, an exciting game. I think we got a really exciting Division I title game last year. And it should be, another one that sort of goes down for the ages here. And you kind of alluded to it earlier. If St. Edward does win this game, it means a lot for Coach Finati's legacy, kind of bringing everything to fruition for St. Edward, a team that was really expected to do well this year. And they got one last hurdle to climb here. So, speaking of having one last hurdle to climb here, we are now joined by three members of the Bedford team. We got David Murray, Cameron Bell, and Connor Olczyk. Guys, before we start things off, tell me what's going on with the hair here, and is this everything that you guys, everyone on the team doing this?
Yeah, we're all going blonde except for Cam.
And Mohawk theme.
Mohawk, blonde. Why was this the choice?
I think it was a summer day and we were sitting on our buddies and we all thought it'd be cool. So I think we've had blonde all year and we didn't want to switch it up now. So.
No, I haven't seen Denzel Ward with blonde hair. Is everyone partaking, or is his hair a little special? What's going on there?
Well, we had him to come over and he did half of his head and then he didn't like it, so they went out and got black dye for him that night. So.
Yeah, he wasn't a fan of it.
All right, well let's turn our attention to the field. David, we'll start with you. You guys have had to go through a crazy road here to even get to this point. When you look at your playoff run, the Perrysburg game, the rematch with Mayfield, how do you think these games prepared you for the state title game?
I think every game that we played in this year has prepared us. Coach Fox always says if we win the game Monday through Thursday, and that's what we've preached all year. And Perrysburg, like we said, is a great football team. So is Midview. What's it called? Highland.
Yeah.
All those teams that we played all year are great teams, and they've let us in to play a big game against LaSalle this weekend. So.
Cameron, you're here. It's the state title game, the state title week here. No matter what, your season is ending on Friday night. How are you feeling right now? Are you nervous? Are you excited?
Just kind of relaxed. We've kind of come to this moment with smiling faces. We're ready for it. We've prepared for it forever, and it's just we're ready to go get the job done.
Connor, talk about the role that you're playing on the team right now, and how the defense sort of changed early on in the season when Nick Grayson went down, and all of you sort of had to take on different roles and different responsibilities.
Well, I knew I was going to have to step up this year, especially when Nick went down. Mm-hmm. So Vincent Hudson actually stepped in at the end. Mm-hmm. So he's been doing the job pretty good this year, but definitely knew that things were going to have to change coming from Alex Wosahovich last year. Des Filey had to fill big shoes, so you know what? I'm proud where we're at right now, filled in the shoes pretty well.
It's never a bad thing to score, but your offense scores a lot of quick touchdowns. What does that do for the defense where you have less rest time to get back on the field?
It's good to see them scoring touchdowns all the time, but, sometimes it drains the energy out of us, but we wouldn't want it any other way. It's nice.
Cameron, when you look along the offense, David's got so many weapons here. What do you, in pass protection, what do you try to do? How much time does David really need?
We like to give him all the time he needs. He's got a bunch of fast guys that get down on the field pretty quickly, which helps us a lot. But other than that, we want to give him everything he needs in the back there.
David, talk about, when you're going through your reads, how you decide, is it Alex or is it, Denzel or is it Maven? How do you make that decision?
Well, we have a progression, and it's gone by based off what the play call is, and it's never really your favorite in a receiver. Mm-hmm. You just go through your reads, and the line does a great job blocking every week, so I usually feel very comfortable back there and just deliver the ball on time. So,
David, I noticed as a community, sorry about that, a community that really is behind its football team and is passionate. What has it been like, the last 3-4 months here with the football team?
Well, it's been outstanding. Nordonia is a football town, and everywhere you go, if you wear a Nordonia football shirt, somebody's going to say something and come up to you and praise you for what you've done. And I love Nordonia. We grew up here, and it's going to be great to bring a state championship ring back to Macedonia. So.
Cameron, talk about Coach Fox. This is the coach that you've had for the last 3 years there. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. But there was a recent coaching change. What has he brought to the Nordonia program?
Fox is a real fiery guy. He's one of us. He's just a giant kid at heart, and he shows it in a little funny way sometimes. But he's great. He's running around with us. He's going through it with us. So it's great to have a guy that is kind of going through it with you.
Connor, you guys play in the Suburban League, and for my money, it's one of the best conferences out there. David talked about how the schedule has really prepared you guys. What about, playing teams like Highland and Wadsworth and Copley and Talmadge? How does that help you during this time of year?
I mean, it was real fun preparing for them, knowing that we're going to have to face great offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really did prepare us for the playoffs. I mean, Highland, nice offense. Wadsworth had the running.
Mm-hmm.
Prepared us for teams like Perrysburg, Midview,
Mm-hmm.
Mayfield. I mean, it's been a long year, but it's been fun. I mean, good to prepare for them and play them.
You got Cincinnati LaSalle coming up. Connor, what have you seen on film? Is this, when you look at them, is this going to be the best team you play, or are they similar to a team you've already played?
Well, yeah, they're going to be different. I mean, they're good at running. They have a great running back, solid quarterback. So definitely going to have to stop the run first, and then from there,
From there you just go, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Cameron, talk about you guys are going down to Ohio State. You're playing in Ohio State Stadium. It's a special experience for a kid, especially when you're going to end your career there. What's it like being going to be down in Columbus?
Play at the Shoe anytime is special. Watching it on TV, it's a great environment. It's a great place to play the game of football. I mean, we like to play wherever we can, but Ohio State's going to be something special.
All right, last question. One with you, David. Let's say you guys win, the state title here. What's going to be running through your head? Who's the first person you call? What's that experience going to be like?
I have to say, I'd probably call up my family and give my whole family a big hug. They've been supportive all year. But another thing that I'd like to go up is my family, my brothers. So we've been together since June 12th and working at this, and it's going to be great to achieve such a goal with all these guys. So.
Great. Well, that's Nordonia. We'll have some of their members back in the show later on, so you won't get sick of these guys. But now we're going to turn their attention to Nordonia's game. They're playing Cincinnati LaSalle in the Division II state championship. And, I said it earlier, Nordonia is a team that went through the ringer at this point. They played Midview, they played Perrysburg, they played Mayfield. They're tested for this one. LaSalle, though, I think is going to be the best team that they have faced all year. Nordonia will need to do a tremendous job defensively to slow down that LaSalle offense. It could be a shootout like the Perrysburg game, but Nordonia's got the offense to be in any game right now. Scott, what do you think about what we're going to see?
I saw LaSalle play a couple times this year. Their only loss is St. Xavier, and they played down there against a lot of tough Division I schools in Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I can't see either of these teams running away with this game. I think they're both too good on both sides of the ball for it to go lopsided one way or the other.
One of the things I do see about an offense that can put up points the way that Nordonia can is that I don't really think, even if LaSalle is able to build a lead, I don't think Nordonia is ever going to be out of a game just because of if David Murray has to drop back and fire the ball downfield 3 times in a row, there's a high success rate there this season. I mean, the kid's only got 6 interceptions on the year. Yeah. I think it's some like 53 touchdowns.
I believe now.
58.
Yeah.
David, how many touchdowns? Come on, you know. 58. 6 picks. What? 6 picks. I mean, how do you? I just.
Yeah. Still a good ratio, right?
Yeah, still pretty decent ratio. As Cameron's sitting there pointing to himself, the reason that he only has 6 interceptions is because his jersey's so clean. Yeah. That's exactly why. I don't think. Yeah, I agree with Scott that it's either going to be a blowout one way, in Nordonia's favor, or it's going to be a tight game where, Nordonia is going to have the ball and a chance to put a score on the board at the end.
Mm-hmm. Now, the game is at Ohio State University at Ohio Stadium, and it's a bit different. It was at Fawcett last year, and then for the last couple of years there. Ohio State has hosted it before, but you guys sort of have differing opinions on whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. Scott, you're in favor of the move. Tell us why.
I'm in favor, but I'm concerned. I like the fact that it's in a central location. It's at Ohio State. It just seems like the right place to be. It's in the middle of the state. It's geographically, it's a good. Everybody's coming from the same place pretty much. So that side of it I understand, but the other side is the whole atmosphere, which I'm guessing the coaches and the players really don't care about. They just want to be out there and play the game. But just for everybody attending the game, it's going to be kind of odd because it's so huge. I mean, even the teams with the best fan base, they're going to have a hard time denting all the empty seats that are going to be there, and the noise. It's I guess that's the thing that people I bet are going to notice the most.
Yeah, and like Scott said, I was there the last time one of these championship games was played at Ohio Stadium. It was 1989, St. Ignatius versus Moeller, and there was a lot of empty seats, and that was the game that set the all-time record at the time for attendance. It was like 34,000 there at the game, and it was a good game. Fast forward 2 years later, they were playing at Fawcett Stadium, and just there's 20,000 fans there, and they're all packed together and on top of the action. It's just a totally different feel. For my money, the games being in a less of an arena sort of atmosphere, more of a cozy sort of atmosphere, it made for better games, better fan experience.
I think football doesn't really lend itself to what basketball has, where you can go and you can spend the whole day there and watch a bunch of different games, and you're not going to get that as much with football. Partly because it's outside and it's going to be pretty cold, and also just the games are a lot longer.
And we got a lot of response on our post, our roundtable post. Erudite 65 said rotate it 3 years in Canton, then 3 years at Crew Stadium, and then move it to Cincinnati, play it down at UC at Nippert Stadium. There's several varying opinions in there. A lot of the Stark County people are in that post commenting and saying how they want to see them come back. And with the $11 million donation that the Saints owner just made to the Hall of Fame at Fawcett Stadium, they're going to rename the stadium for him. It's not going to be Fawcett anymore, which is kind of weird. Yeah. But
one of the other comments from Me Wonders brought up a good point that I noticed last year. They always felt the kids coming down to Canton and getting to visit the Pro Football Hall of Fame was a big part of that. Yeah. And now there isn't that. You can look around campus and stuff, but there's not that one neat place to go and kind of add to that experience.
And you think about it, I mean, my senior year, I grew up in New Jersey. My senior year, our football team went to the state title game. It was at Giant Stadium. And Giant Stadium, if even any football stadium, is still smaller than Ohio State. I mean, Ohio Stadium holds so many, over 100,000 fans for the game against Michigan this past week. And when you think, it's going to feel empty. And I know it's cool. You go down there, you say you played at Ohio State, your last game potentially is at Ohio State, and maybe there isn't that pull. I mean, it's the Football Hall of Fame, but it's still a high school stadium when it comes right down to it. But I think in terms of atmosphere, you really can't beat Fawcett. And I think with this donation, I think it's only a matter of time before it's back there, quite honestly.
Now, for these guys, walking down the tunnel to the field, the way that the Ohio State players do, that's going to be a thrill. And there's going to be just little pockets of things that are experiences that they're going to enjoy. And certainly, Urban Meyer having a chance to see some of these kids up close like that, and they come to him now. And that's an important aspect to it. But I don't like the move in perpetuity. I don't like it for these games were at Fawcett for 24 years. Yeah. I think I agree you should have some sort of rotating basis or something. And the venue itself, the Horseshoe, I just don't like it.
Yeah, we should mention our poll results. Before we came on here, I checked them out. 71% voted for Fawcett. And then you went 18% Ohio State, 4% First Energy Stadium, which I don't know how many Cincinnati teams would be up for that. And 1% Paul Brown Stadium down in Cincinnati. There were a few other votes. Crew Stadium came up a few times. That's interesting because it is smaller. It's a very nice stadium.
But it's not football, and I think there's no history there, which I think is part of the problem. When you have a state that has so much football history to play to the soccer stadium, it seems a little weird to me. So, yeah, well, I think a lot of it's speculation, though. We'll see, how these games play out this weekend, and then we'll really get a feel for what the atmosphere is like. And I'm sure the OHSAA is doing everything to make it a good atmosphere, so there should be a lot on the horizon. It's not just our games in the state championships. There are 3 other games that don't involve a local. One of those is in Division III, where we almost had St. Vincent St. Mary come down there, but the Plains Athens came back and won that game, and now they're going to be playing Toledo Central Catholic. Scott, when you look at that game, what do you expect? I mean, 2 very strong programs coming up against each other.
I'm going to say Athens takes this. I think when you look at their quarterback, I've heard a lot of people say he's the best quarterback they've ever seen in high school. Nobody's really shut them down yet. I think you kind of have to go with Athens in that matchup.
Joe, what do you think?
Just to expand a little bit on what Scott said, Joe Burrow from Athens, 6'4", 210. So you start off with, a kid who could be playing linebacker for a lot of teams. Through 13 games this season, this isn't even like the full 14, 191 of 257. He's completing 74% of his passes. David Murray just grimaced. At 74% of his passes, I mean, you're talking the Division II Player of the Year over there saying, wow, that's pretty good. 53 touchdown passes and just 1 interception. Murray, what's going on? 1 pick on the year. I think it's pretty good. 13-0.
Let me ask you guys something. I mentioned them very briefly, but St. Vincent St. Mary is out. They won back-to-back championships before they lost this year. Of the 4 locals, which team is best set up to potentially win another championship next year?
Of the 4 locals that made it here?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. You can't put anything past Kirtland. They lose guys every year, right?
Yeah.
But I think Benedictine, maybe. They get the quarterback. They have Lane coming back. Rash, I believe, is back. So that's a pretty good nucleus coming back for another run at it.
Yeah, you take the easy one. Benedictine surely, Kirtland definitely. Nordonia's got a big senior class and a good group. Coach Fox told me, I did the riding in cars with coaches, and I took Coach Fox around for a while, and he talked about the character of the team, and I asked him about being fiery at pregame speeches and things like that, and he said this is a team of guys who they're real characters. There's some real jokers, and you can't let them get away with too much.
Yeah.
And he said sometimes it makes him just pull his hair out, trying to sort of wrangle everybody and keep them in line. But what he gets out of them has been so fantastic this year and really over the course of the last 2-3 years that you can't argue with the madness, I guess.
Yeah, I would have to side with Scott and go Kirtland. I think there's a chance that Benny does it, but when you look at Nordonia and Eds, I mean, you really need your best team to go through Division I or Division II, and this is hands down Ed's best team and Nordonia's best team.
Right.
The team probably won't be as good next year, so I think it'll be a difficult task for them. A lot of good teams out there, and when we look at Benny, I mean, we talked with Coach Schaefer, but we haven't really previewed the game. So we're going to do that after we have the Kirtland coach on right now. We're going to have Coach Tiger Laverty. I've just been told is with us right now. Coach, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing today?
We're doing great, Coach. It's a place that you've been in this situation several times before with Kirtland. How is this year's team different than other teams that have been this far?
Well, this is a much different team. The last couple of years we had kids that played a ton of football, and this year we have a lot of kids that hadn't played a lot of it. They worked throughout the off season, and I'm just real proud of them for executing and getting back there again to give us another chance.
Coach, when you look at your opponent this week in Minster, what do you see from them?
Well, they got a great quarterback, and they got 2 really good wideouts on the outside that are very dangerous, and they execute really well. They're very well coached, and defensively they're really quick. Probably the fastest defense we've faced all year, so that'll be a great challenge for us.
Now, Coach, you had the close game against Beechwood during the regular season, a little bit out of character compared to how you had done in previous seasons, and I'm curious what kind of impact that had on your team.
Well, we were down 2 touchdowns at halftime, so that was kind of fun for the kids to you have to battle at halftime and see what you're made of. And I kind of told them, I said, listen, this is a great opportunity. It's fun to come back and win a football game, and we're going to have to do that and, embrace it and enjoy it. And you got to go out and compete and have a chance to win. And the kids really competed hard in the second half and found a way to win. I was real proud of them.
Coach, talk a little bit about, making all these consecutive deep runs into the playoffs, and you're basically adding 5 games, half a season every year on to the end of your year. You've got some kids on the roster, I believe, have played 60 high school football games. Is that correct? Or
This will be their 60th high school game, which is, it's crazy to think about. And, I really feel very fortunate to be able to coach these kids. And we certainly have some talented kids that get us to this game, and it's fun to be a part of it.
And not only does it give you the opportunity to have kids be in the program, experience a lot of stuff, and basically they've seen everything. By the time they're a senior in the program, they've seen 60 games and everything you can throw at them. Physically, does it wear on them at all? Are you worried about any sort of wear and tear on the kids, or?
No, we don't. It's anymore. You got to practice a little bit differently with everything, and so we don't have a whole lot of big time collisions in practice. We tackle, but we try to keep it within a 2 or 3 yard radius, so the kids aren't running full speed and slamming into each other, but we try to get in good position and get a good fit, and we do a lot of tackling. It's just we're not running from more than 4 yards away from each other to start the process. So I don't think it wears on them. They get a lot of time off after the game Friday. We don't really go full pads till Tuesday, and then really once the season starts, it's Tuesday and Wednesday at full pads, and Thursday's a walkthrough, and Monday there's a lot of scouting and lifting and half pads. So I don't think it's that much wear and tear on the body.
Coach, you're back here in the state championship game, but you're not going to the same place. We're going down to Ohio State. How do you feel about that? Does it even matter at all, or would you prefer Canton? How do you feel about the venue?
I think there's pros and minuses to both. I think Massillon was a great facility. When you put 9,000 people in there, it seemed very, very loud and exciting. And, I don't think that it'll be that same thing in Ohio State Stadium. You put 9,000 in there and it's going to seem empty. But, it's also going to be cool to play at the same place the Buckeyes play and to use those locker rooms and to play on that field. So it's going to be a really exciting experience for the kids. But the atmosphere at Massillon and over at Canton was also fun also. So I think there's pros and cons to both.
Now, this is your 4th straight state title game. I'm sure the players and the coaches do not get complacent, but I'm curious what the fan base and what the community is like in Kirtland, because this is 4th straight. I'm wondering if there's a level of, they're doing it again, and maybe the excitement isn't as big as it was 2 years ago. What's it been like around town?
Well, certainly the first year we had never been there, and every week that we made it further in the playoffs, it was totally new to everybody, and it was probably more exciting. We had pep rallies every single week. And now that we've done it, 4 years in a row, there's certainly not that we don't have pep rallies as much anymore. I think we're going to have them this week. But no, the first time was really, really special, and each time is different and special. But as far as the community goes, nothing will beat 2011 when every week was a new experience. So that was pretty cool. But this is also different kids, and these kids have earned the right to play in this thing and have worked very hard and deserve it. And it shouldn't be taken for granted the hours that they've put in the off season the last 3 or 4 years to get where they're at. So I want the community to really understand what these kids have put into it, and please don't take it for granted. And it's something very special, and you never know, and they never happen again. So these kids are a special group, and Friday night is the last time they'll get to play together. And then they started playing together in 2nd grade, and Friday night's it. It's the last time, so hopefully they enjoy themselves.
Coach, we want to thank you for joining us, and good luck on Friday. We can't wait to see it.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, we got 4 more divisions to go through here, so why don't we quickly go through 4 and 5, since 5 doesn't have a local, and then we'll bring these Nordonia guys back on. Division 4, we've talked about it a lot, Benedictine, Kettering-Alter. Scott, what's it going to take for either team to win?
I think Benedictine just has to keep doing what it's doing. I don't think there's many teams out there that can match up with them. They have a lot of mismatch players, whether it's Baker or Lane on the outside, people that other teams have a hard time covering. So, as long as they execute, and I sound like a coach, but as long as they execute, and they do what they've been doing the last few weeks, I don't see an issue.
Joe?
Yeah, I think if Benedictine is able to grab an early lead and put up a few points and force Alter into a situation where they have to throw the ball downfield, I think they have the athletes in the secondary to defend that and make it a really long day for Kettering-Alter.
What about Division 5? I mean, I'm looking forward to this one, even though it's not a local.
Coldwater. Just Coldwater. Why would you pick anybody else but Coldwater?
Well, what's it going to take for Coldwater to not win?
Brody Hoying getting run over by a bus before the game starts. I think you've got Brody Hoying. He's not the biggest guy on the floor on the field. He's not the fastest necessarily. He makes plays. He's dare I say, a Johnny Manziel type quarterback who can make things happen. And more than that, he's a really effective passer. Can throw the ball downfield. We're just really looking forward to seeing Coldwater. And the Ron Wright factor also comes into play here.
Yes, it does.
As well with his brother Jay as an assistant coach on that team. Chip Odden is the head coach, but Jay Wright's been with them for almost 30 years. So Ron Wright will be in the stands for the 8 o'clock game on Saturday night while the Buckeyes are going on and nobody's watching at home. But definitely Coldwater's my pick for Division 5. Okay, we brought we liked you so much the first time. We're going to bring you back the second time. All right, everybody just shake it out. This is going to be the relaxed part. We're not going to talk X's and O's. We're going to talk, pop music and, movies and stuff like that and have a little fun here. First, I got to ask you guys, we see these, the signs that the kids in the stands, the student section, they always have the big heads of all the players. You guys, what's the best one that you guys have seen so far this season? Is there like one with a goofy face, or have there been any signs that you've seen from the student section that stand out that you guys remember?
When we played Fremont Ross in the first round, they were talking trash on Twitter, and some girl called us Narnia. So our student section put a big sign up that said "For Narnia." That was one of my personal favorites. That was a good one.
Oh wow! Like she couldn't spell the Narnia.
No, she's like Nordonia. It sounds like Narnia, and like she misspelled Nordonia.
So we put "Welcome to Narnia."
So we put "For Narnia" like up in our stadium.
That's great. As far when you guys see that up in you look up in your student section, you see the support you guys got. You guys have a great band. Your band is fantastic, and the student section is really good. What's that do to you on the field when you see them get up, and especially after a win when you guys go over and talk to them and greet them?
Well, I mean, the Perrysburg game, they were out in the competition in Indiana, so like the band wasn't there, so it was different.
You guys, you played a playoff game without your band there? That's why you almost lost that game. Be honest.
Can't lose without the
See, I love the band. Head bob to it, just.
What's the best song that the band plays that you hear? They do. I know Hudson did "Fat Bottom Girls." That's like their staple, and it's murder trying to interview you guys after a game with the band playing.
Right.
But what's your favorite song that the band plays?
Yeah.
It's got to be the fight song. We're like the only school in Ohio, I think, that has their own fight song. So it's real cool to score a touchdown. You hear the fight song playing in the background. It's a real motivator.
Nice. You guys know the words to it?
I don't think our fight song has words, but our alma mater is after every game. We know the words to that.
Maybe we'll take you up on that later. As far as you guys are getting down there on Thursday night, you guys are going to have a team meal and a walkthrough and all that kind of stuff. Is that a time when the seniors are going to step up and say something, or what's what do you have planned for that kind of situation?
Well, usually on Thursday practices, the captains address the team, and we've done that all year. It's the coaches will come and say what they have to do or say what we have to say, and then they'll leave, and the captains will talk to the team and get them ready. But I think it'll be we're a really laid back team, and we're just gonna have fun with it and enjoy this weekend.
Who's the wisecracker? Who's the funny guy who gets up and says? I mean, I'm sure you guys have a ton of them.
We have
Oh yeah, whole team.
Vincent Hudson is a really funny kid.
Oh, yeah.
And Isaiah Lejoie always gets us going. So.
You mentioned Vincent and Isaiah. They were two who had pretty big games against Mayfield in your state the state semifinal game. Alex Alders was someone who got dinged up and missed a good chunk of the game. What do you remember about him being on the sideline? Did you say anything to him during that time, or was there any encouragement? Or
Well, I mean, Coach Russ, he prepares us well, so I knew that Isaiah was going to be able to come in the game, step up well, play good on defense, and same with offense. I knew that he would be able to get the job done. So I wasn't too worried about it, but he was calm, kept his cool. Same with Vincent. I mean, he's had a great year this year, so proud of both of them.
So, does it getting down there make it any more special, being able to come through that semifinal game with Alex on the sideline and make it down there? Was that important to him or you guys?
I think it was important for us all. Alex is a great kid, and he's a great team leader and stuff. And to have him there and by the side, and I remember coming off the field after one of our touchdowns, and to see the smile on his face and seeing everybody else succeed as well, it really helped us all get together. And I'm so excited to get down there and play.
What's one thing that you're definitely going to do when you're on the field down there? Look around, take it in. Experience-wise, is there like a ritual or anything like that you have on the field?
Well, definitely. I'm just sit on the bench and just soak it all in. Just look around like, wow, here.
We're gonna have to do our jump. We have a thing where I jump up in his arms before every game, so we'll have to keep that ritual going in the shoe.
Like you jump up and he catches you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You'll have to check it out.
I'm the stupid handshake guy on the team. I have a dumb handshake with pretty much everyone on the team. So
Really? Like choreographed, coordinated.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them.
Okay, we'll have to make sure that we do a little video of your stuff.
Yeah, they get dumber and dumber with each person, I think.
Okay, you've won the state title. Where do you put your ring? Where do you keep your ring, the ring box? You got to think about these things.
Right.
You got to think about where you're gonna, hang your jersey, where you're gonna put your trophies, where you put your ring.
We were debating on where to put it, but it's either on a gold chain or as a pinky ring.
Gotta go traditional pinky ring. Gotta go pinky ring.
Cameron could have a regular size ring on his pinky. It's pretty much normal, but. As far as what's the best T-shirt or gear that you've seen, you've got a lot of spirit wear and a lot of stuff at the stores. The student section, you guys do a great job of getting geared up. What's the best thing you've seen? That hoodie's pretty sweet right there. But anything like that?
It's hard to say.
I'd probably say I like all of our stuff. Coach Fox does a great job with getting us nice gear for us. And
Under Armour or Nike?
Adidas, actually.
Adidas.
We're switching to Adidas next year. Unfortunately, we didn't get our uniforms for the game, but we're getting nice pullovers and stuff for the game. So.
Well, we'll probably need it. Hopefully we stay warm and dry there. We'll be nice and warm and dry up in the press box watching you guys. So, feel real bad for you down there suffering on the field. I guess we got to take a look. Again, guys, thank you. A little more relaxed. Actually, later on, if you guys want to watch, I'll be posting some vines of David trying to conquer the one thing that you haven't been able to.
Which will be done tonight.
We have a little contest here at neo-varsity live with our players afterwards. We try to throw the football in the garbage can from the balcony here in the office. No high school players been able to do it this year. David's been pretty close. We're going to see if he can get it done tonight. If he can, that's got to spell really good, karma for the team going into the state championship game. Fellas, thank you for being here and joining us. And we're going to move on right now and look at the Division 6 state championship game, and it pits Kirtland versus Minster. We talked to Coach Tiger Laverty moments ago, and David, what do you see in this Division 6 matchup?
I see Kirtland winning. I think it's pretty clear. They're having a tremendous season. They're the better team, and they know how to get it done here. I think it's similar to last year where people thought Kirtland might lose, but Kirtland just comes out there, they do what they do.
I think last year people had that after they had a hard time against Bishop Reedy.
Yeah.
Or Reedy. But yeah, I think the fact that they got out of their region makes them the odds-on favorite from that point on to win. Getting past Loudonville was, I think a lot of people saw that as possibly the state championship game.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that they won that region made them the overwhelming favorite going forward.
And you talk about Kirtland, and much has been said about how they're a team that's got 5 plays in the playbook, and they execute those 5 plays better than any team in the state. You've got a quarterback in Sam Skilgen who doesn't put up David Murray numbers, but when he does throw the ball, he completes passes, and he makes that defense stay honest. And when that happens, that opens up the running game for Kirtland. I really like Kirtland's chances of bringing home a title this year.
I do as well. And then there's just one division left. It's Division 7. No locals, unfortunately, but not possibly the best game out there. Scott, what do you think?
I'm going with the upset. I think before the playoffs even started, I went with Norwalk St. Paul. I'm just going with Norwalk St. Paul.
In Southern Ohio or in Eastern Ohio, or Western Ohio, you're speaking blasphemy right now. Marion local, I don't think any team in Division 7, any team in Division 7 can really stand pat with Marion
St.
local.
Paul's going to make memories this weekend.
They're going to have to pull one of the biggest upsets in Division 7 history. The long and illustrious 2-year history of Division 7 to accomplish that feat.
Well, we're going to make some memories this weekend, that's for sure. Unfortunately, St. Edward football was not able to join us tonight. They got held up, but I'm sure we'll be covering them quite a bit over the next couple days leading up into Saturday.
Chances are pretty good we might talk to a few of them.
So you got to stick at cleveland.com if you want more coverage on St. Edward, Kirtland, Benedictine, Nordonia. Keep it locked here. Football state championships week. It doesn't get any better than that. For neo-varsity-live, Joe Noga, Scott-Patsko, Dave Cassilo. We'll see you soon.